On Thursday, British Defence Minister Ben Wallace made a major announcement to the MPs at the Houses of Parliament. Let's have a listen.
We now move on to the next statement on Ukraine, and I call the Secretary of State for Defence.
The UN, as well as US investigators, have found that Russia has committed war crimes with reported evidence of executions, torture and sexual violence in civilian areas. And that is why, Mr Deputy Speaker, the Prime Minister and I have now taken the decision to provide longer-range capabilities. In December, I informed the House that I was developing options to respond to Russia's continued aggression in a calibrated and determined manner. Today, I can confirm that the UK is donating Storm Shadow missiles to Ukraine. Storm Shadow is a long-range, conventional-only precision strike capability. It complements the long-range systems already gifted, including HIMARS and Harpoon missiles, as well as Ukraine's own Neptune cruise missile and longer-range missions elsewhere gifted. The donation of these weapon systems gives Ukraine the best chance to defend themselves against Russia's continued brutality, especially the deliberate targeting of Ukrainian civilian infrastructure, which is against international law. Ukraine has a right to be able to defend itself against this. The use of Storm Shadow will allow Ukraine to push back Russian forces based within Ukrainian sovereign territory. I'm sure the House will understand that I'm not going into further details of the capabilities, but while these weapons will give Ukraine new capability, members should recognise that these systems are not even in the same league as the Russian AS-24 Killjoy hypersonic missile or Shahed Iranian one-way attack drones, or even the Caliber cruise missile with a range of over 2,000 kilometres, roughly 7 times that of a Storm Shadow missile. Russia must recognise that their actions alone have led to such systems being provided to Ukraine. It is my judgment as the Defence Secretary that this is a calibrated and proportionate response to Russia's escalations. Mr Deputy Speaker.
So, Ukraine getting Storm Shadow missiles. But what is Storm Shadow? How does it work? What's it capable of? And how will it benefit Ukraine? Storm Shadow is described as a long-range, fire-and-forget air-launched cruise missile, first developed in 1994 by the UK and France, called Storm Shadow in Britain, but in France they call it the scalp-eg. That's the French. With a length of just over 5 metres and weighing in at 1,300 kilos, launched from the air, Storm Shadow immediately descends to around about 100 metres above the ground and, cruising at around 600 miles an hour, hugs the contours on its way to minimise radar or other electronic discovery methods, and uses GPS and terrain mapping to navigate to its pre-programmed target. When it finally reaches its target, it climbs and strikes downwards with a devastating blow from its 450 kilo warhead. It's a real bunker buster. It carries a shaped precursor charge to penetrate and then a larger delayed fuse charge to detonate after entry. And that precursor charge allows it to penetrate 5 metres of concrete. That's 16.5 feet of concrete. So, what advantage does adding this new weapon into the Ukraine mix make? Well, the main one is simply its range. At around 150 miles on the export model that's being sent to Ukraine, it's 3 times that of the currently used HIMARS system. Deep State already has Storm Shadow on its artillery list, so let's pop over to the maps and have a look. So, we can see from this first map that the Ukrainians can't even reach Crimean Peninsula with HIMARS, and as we move up the map you can see there are huge swathes of land that the Ukrainians can't reach with HIMARS. Now, enter Storm Shadow, and we can immediately see that the greater proportion of Crimea is within range, certainly most of the Russian air bases and, most importantly, the Russian naval port at Sevastopol. Moving the firing position up a tad, we can see that the entire Sea of Azov is a potential target. In fact, moving up the map, the Russians have absolutely no hiding places whatsoever now. Now, I understand these are being fitted to Ukrainian Su-24s in Poland and seem to be already in use in Ukraine, as it was reported that a couple of industrial sites in Russian-held city of Luhansk in eastern Ukraine were hit by Storm Shadow missiles on Saturday. And photographs of fragments found at the site would seem to indicate that it was actually Storm Shadow. When I have more information, I'll upload it straight away. So, if you don't want to miss that, subscribe to my channel. It's just one click. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you found my video interesting. If you did, then please do me a big favour and hit that like button. Helps my channel out enormously and helps other people like you to find videos like this. I'm uploading informational videos about the Russo-Ukrainian war every single day. In fact, I've got over 180 such videos live so far, so you might like to check out my channel and subscribe and click the notification bell so you never miss a new one. And finally, I'd like to make better videos for you, but I survive on a small pension and I'm working with a very old and very slow computer and freeware editing programs. So, if you could help me out by buying me a coffee, the link's down in the description below, I might soon be able to improve my production values and deliver you a much better service. Well, that's all for now, but there's lots more to come, so I hope to see you very soon.